Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. So we are here for War 10 of the season. So we are coming down the home stretch here. This is the final week, first war of the final week, right? So two more wars after this one. We are currently, I think, 63rd in Plat 3 and moving up something like 20 spots after a win. So theoretically, if we do win our last three wars, I think there's an outside shot that we could make Plat 2, but I'm not really counting on that. I think that really the number of spots that you move up as you get closer and closer to the top, I think it starts that 20 spots per win, I think, it starts becoming like 15 or even less than that. So I'm not counting on, even if we do win out, getting to Plat 2. I've already said it a few times that as long as we secure our foothold in Tier 2, that's going to set us up perfectly for next season, and then we can really focus on getting that Plat 2 finish. So let's just dive into the fights. We're on Path 4 again. The first fight is going to be against a Crossbones. He's shown up, I think, once previously this season. He is a tactic defender. However, probably not one of the harder tactic defenders. I am going to take in Kushala for this tactic attacker. She should work very well against him. As long as I just, stick to the SP2s. I don't want to be throwing SP1s because he's just going to purify those incinerate debuffs that I put on him, right? So I really just want to barb his soul with the SP2s. I'll bait his SP1s. Those are easy enough to evade. A few hits on block here, a few parries there, and it should be an easy fight. So let's see the fight in action. So, yeah, build up some prowesses early in the fight by just wailing away on his block with some lights. There's really not much to say about this. There's little way that Crossbones can really hurt me. His movements are very, very easy to dodge, and Kushala is obviously a very strong attacker, especially in this meta. So once I get this first L2 off, which should come shortly, let's see how much that's going to do per tick. So it's over 2k per tick. You can see how quickly his health bar is melting down. Because of all those furies that he's proccing, I'm already going to be close to my second L2. And do I just throw it right away? No, I'm going to bait out another L1. That's a smart thing to do. He starts getting a little bit passive, which is annoying, but I had so many prowesses built up that it's only now he's going indestructible. No big deal. I'll just wait for him to throw it. I'll wait for him to kind of hold block. I'll hit into his block. And now it's all gone, and I can just throw this. And that should just about do it. If it doesn't kill him straight off, then the soul barbs will take care of it. Oh, he went indestructible again, so whatever. I'll just have to clear those out and then wait. Oh, actually, the soul barb actually expired, so a little bit longer, actually. Yeah, over a minute. I think that Crossbones was only a 6R4, so a little bit surprising that it took that long, but again, easy enough fight, and I'm able to save my health. So let's move on to the second fight against Scorpion, another guy who's shown up, he showed up a lot the previous season. He was tactic back then. He's not tactic anymore, so, he certainly has those annoying L1s. And if you're not bringing a poison immune, then, those L1s, if you can't dodge them entirely, then you're going to get some debuffs up on you and damaging debuffs at that. But I elected, because of some other fights that I saw, that, well, I love to just come in and Hulk smash to make fights easy, right? So Hulk is obviously, one, someone who can get the fight down quickly, and then two, someone who is poison immune. So I'm anticipating that this is going to be an easy fight. I still have to worry about his evades, but as long as I'm just a little bit careful about that, my feeling is he can't hurt me too much. So we'll see if that turns out to be true. Actually, a little bit spoiler. I think probably my my title and well, really just a title will probably indicate that this is a kind of sloppy war on my part, and the sloppiness starts here. So it starts off okay. I took a little bit of damage on block, but no big deal. So now Scorpion Sense activates, and he triggers the evade right away. The defenders do have increased defensive ability accuracy on this node, so that's to be expected. But that didn't really do too much. I'm still building my way up to those 15 rage stacks. I think that's what they're called. The Furies, in any case. And I'm almost at 3 bars of power. Scorpion Sense has reactivated. And of course, my first non-stunned hit also triggers the evade. So that one actually did a little bit more. And I couldn't evade that, so that's a little bit annoying. But now I'm going to come in, throw my L3. This should set me up for a quick finish. Just have to bait one more L1. But even this one, I can't evade. I just don't know what happens there. Usually I can do a partial evade, but not here. But a 70k heavy to finish it off, so I was never in any real danger of dying, but I am going to use Hulk again this war, so it's annoying that I'm going to have to heal him up now for 30% of his health. The third fight on this path, Silver Surfer, who is tactic, was surprisingly a little bit tricky for me the first time around that I faced him. I forget if I took Hood. No, I think it was Hood that I used against him the first attempt. And it was a solo, but was a more annoying fight than I had originally anticipated. So this time around, I'm actually, even though it's just Silver Surfer, I'm actually bringing in a specialized counter. So the only way that Silver Surfer can really hurt you on this node is the fact that he's proccing, or inflicting, I guess, armor break debuffs on you. So this is my first chance to try out my new Destroyer, who is armor break immune. And being armor break immune, that makes me immune not only to the only way that he can inflict debuffs on me, but also the node itself. One of the debuffs that it's placing is armor break. So there's virtually no way that I can trigger the unblockable on this node. So I'm very confident about this, even though I don't really know how to play Destroyer yet. I heard somewhere that you just do like a couple L2s, sorry, a couple L1s and then L2s. So that's pretty much my game plan, is just a couple L1s, an L2, building up prowesses when possible, just because, you know, doing the evade of Silver Surfer's specials does quickly build up the indestructible passives on him. But my feeling going in, even though it's a sloppy game plan, is it's Silver Surfer. There's really no way that this fight can go wrong. So let's see if there's really no way that this fight can go wrong. So start with the parry, regular attacks. Destroyer's animations are certainly very cool. I do look forward to learning how to play him, because I guess another spoiler, what I do here is certainly not, or at least I hope it's not, optimal gameplay for Destroyer. So he's already built up a couple indestructibles, which I'm going to go ahead and try to get rid of. So here's a convenient opportunity. Get rid of most of them, and then, okay, now they're all gone. So let's see, do I throw my L1 at the end of this? Yes. So I think I'm supposed to be keeping an eye on his destruction charges and doing something special when they reach 100, but for this fight, I'm not really paying any attention at all. So he's still got a lot of health. We're about a minute into the fight, and he's barely 20% down. And I think that's already starting to weigh on my mind a little bit. So there he catches me on the dashback, and we're basically even. Actually, he's a little bit ahead in the health race. So I'm gonna, I think, throw my L2 after I get rid of his indestructibles. Let's get rid of those, yep. Alright, so now I should throw my L2, and then unfortunately another indestructible pops up, and then goes up to 4 because it's his L1. So now I'm at 3 bars of power. I didn't really want, but I think his L3 does a good amount of damage, or at least I thought that going in. So let's see what it actually does. He started at 78%, and after we grow to mammoth size and breathe our fire, it did almost nothing. So I mean, he does have a degen on him, but it's only doing 768 per tick. My Destroyer is only 6-star rank 4, but this Surfer is also only 6-star rank 4. So I'm kind of surprised at how slowly this fight is going, and then I get caught in another dashback. So now I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about this fight. You know, if I die to Silver Surfer, I don't know if I could forgive myself for that. So another L3. I didn't want to be at an L3, but let's see how much damage this does this time around. I think he started around 65% or so. So again, you know, it does some decent degen damage, but the actual hit damage is pretty mediocre. So let's bait out this L2. I guess let me take some opportunity to get rid of the indestructibles, bait out the L2. And the attacks seem to be going a little bit, seem to be doing more damage this time around. Like that that sequence took off easily 20% health. So again, I don't know exactly what I built up here, but whatever it was, I guess I'm ramping up at this point. Hope you're appreciating this very quality recap. I will learn more about Destroyer and perhaps do a video focused on Destroyer once I've learned a little bit more about him. But yeah, based on how this fight went, he's certainly not a champ that you can just come in and do medium, light, 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 medium combos and expect to have success, because it's not working out for me in a fight where he should be tailor-made. You know, he's got class advantage, he's immune to his armor breaks, it should just be the ideal matchup for him, but you know, now there's a minute and a half left in the fight. I don't know if I even noticed during the fight just how close I came to timing out, but 7% left. Will this L3 just finish it off? Put me out of my misery? Let's see. Breathe your fire. And yes, he is dead. So 3 minutes, 40 seconds on that fight. Very, very unimpressive. 44% health loss. I'm not using him again, so no big deal, but it's certainly not an auspicious start for the Destroyer. Hopefully, once you actually learn how to play him, he's more impressive. But anyway, the final fight on Path 4 is this Iron Man Infinity War. Again, someone who shows up from time to time on this path, chiefly because I think of the increased defensive ability accuracy. So he will be proccing his armors. I brought in Hulk, so he took out Scorpion, and I'm anticipating that he's also going to have an easy time, or at least my thinking when I was coming up with the plan was that he's going to have an easy time with Scorpion and just as easy time with Iron Man. So just need to watch out for, keep an eye on his armors, make sure I don't take him to 4. You know, heavy punishes both his, I guess, his own heavies as well as his specials, and just do regular Hulk smash. So again, I'm very confident going in, but I had a shaky fight against Scorpion, and I've already told you that this war is generally a pretty sloppy war, so you probably know what to expect from this fight. So he's at 3, I'm going to back off. So now his armors are expiring, and I can start attacking again. I back off a little bit because I saw it get to 2, but that one immediately expired, so should be able to hit a little bit more here. I'm just waiting for it to get to 0 just to be ultra safe. So do a full... I'm not even doing a full combo. I guess just feeling ultra conservative. So I'm at 8 Furies, still a little ways to go until I get to my 15. He's at 3 again, so I'm going to have to wait, and I'm in the corner now. Not ideal. So I'm trying to parry and reparry the best I can, and I take a hit there. So now I can counter since he had no armors, but he's quickly back up to 2. I'm at 13 Furies, so I should be able to throw this L3 in just a few more hits, hopefully. Just waiting for my opening. Not sure why I backed off so quickly there. Maybe I'm trying to bait out the L1 before I throw? No. Okay, so I just go ahead and throw it. He's at 61% starting. I expected this would do more. He only went down to 48%. Maybe I should have waited until he had 0 armors to throw it. But anyway, so now the regular attacks are doing quite a bit, but I'm mindful of that final, whatever it is, 15 or 18% where he's going to auto-block. So I just want to make sure that I line up a big attack, hopefully just kill him in one shot. So I think heavy here, it does a lot less than I expected, only 4%. So now I'm in this phase where I just have to kind of wait. So I do another heavy, it doesn't really do that much. Bait out the special, now his armors are gone. Bait out another special, and hopefully one more L1 will do the trick. I mess up the heavy punish there. Not sure how. I've done that so many times. Not with Hulk, but I guess just with other characters. Figured I had the spacing down. So here I don't even bother to come in. Or I do at the very end, and for whatever reason I back off. Just being gun shy. So now he's got me down below 50% because I keep on screwing up. But finally a L1 intercept or interrupt gets him. So I lost almost 56% damage on that fight. 56% health. And the fight took 2 minutes, which... You know, a 7-star rank 3 Hulk against a 7-star rank 1 low sig Iron Man Infinity War. Certainly didn't expect that kind of performance. So not feeling all that confident coming into the minis, and I've selected a couple of somewhat challenging minis this war, at least much more challenging than the few previous wars that I've, at least the last war that I took. So the first one is the Super-Skrull on node 42. So this is the node where the specials aren't going to cost full power. He's going to go into phases where he can't be nullified or staggered. There's this one eye open, keep that in mind. So any damage that I'm doing while he's stunned is just going to be reflected on me. And I need to, this make a stand, I need to knock him down to remove protection periodically. And given the number of buffs, you can't overlook this overwhelming odds node, so he will have a lot of extra attack for every single buff that he has on him. And he is tactic. So this is a key reason why I wanted to bring in Kushala, is that I do think Kushala is going to be good for him, even though he is Incinerate immune. Again, with all those buffs that he's going to have, the Soul Barb should do pretty good damage. So this is a more complicated game plan than I usually like to have for a fight. I've talked a few times about how I often, if I get into trouble in a fight, I don't react well. I tend to get a little bit panicky. And so the more complicated the game plan is, the more chance there is that if I get into that panicky state, that I'm going to completely abandon, the game plan. And if the game plan was very complicated, then chances are I kind of needed to stick to that game plan in order to achieve success. So all that being said, I'm trying to work on that, right? I have to kind of push myself out of my comfort zone if I want to get better. So that's the goal here. He's going to go unblockable, I think, if I get 4 or more armor up buffs on him, and he procs armor ups whenever I hit into him. So the goal is that I think he can have a max of 5 of those, I forget the exact term for him, but something like cosmic energy buffs. So the key is if I get a few parries in early, at least 2, that means he cannot get, at least in one cycle, to 4 armor up buffs, and therefore he cannot go unblockable. So I want to get those parries up early. Obviously, they also do benefit for Kushala because that means that she will get her blessing up early, right? And I want to keep that blessing up throughout the fight because in the event that I screw up and he does go unblockable, I want to have that parry blessing in place so that I can have that safeguard that I can still block an unblockable attack or an L2. I want to be spamming my L2s. Again, my L1 is not really going to do anything to him, so want to be barbing his soul. If I get pushed to S33, that's okay too. I'll put some degens on him. I want to use a power back boost so that I'm very easily getting back to my specials. Shouldn't really be necessary because of all the buffs that he's proccing with Max MD and the effect that it has on Kushala. She should be very quickly getting to 2 bars of power anyway, but it'll just make it a little bit easier. I want to be looking for opportunities to strike with my heavy so that I can get that blessing up too. So I did practice punishing his heavy with a heavy. It's a little bit of a tricky spacing, but a little bit of practice and it becomes second nature. And just keep in mind that it's not that, okay, 2+ parries at the beginning of the fight and then I'm out of danger. Once he gets into that cosmic energy overload mode, I think it's called, that lasts for something like 15 seconds and then the loop starts again. So I have to watch out for that so that I can get my parries back up. So yeah, much more complicated game plan than what I'm used to, and let's see if I can actually execute. So, I do get that parry, I get another parry, good, okay. 3 parries is fine, right? I don't really want to get to, 4 or 5, because then he'll just get some other beneficial effect, but I think whatever beneficial effect he gets off of the Furies is really not that big a deal, so I'm doing over 5k per tick with that Soul Barb. Pretty happy to see that. So I'm thinking at this point that this is going to be an absolute cakewalk. So I am falter briefly. Fortunately, I saved myself. I think I did notice at the time. So I'm able to block that. And because I had the parry blessing up, I recover a good bit of the block damage. I try to parry this rock and I just don't. Just fine. So now I throw another Soul Barb, knock him down. And so I try to parry again, and I don't. I'm going to be faltered shortly. I want to keep an eye out for that. For some reason, I don't. I should have. Yeah, okay, so I did it there. At this point, I noticed that my health is ticking down, and it's obvious why. It's the one eye open node. So, it's another part of the game plan that really should have, I guess, I knew that going in. I knew that if the Soul Barb is up, when I parry, it's going to do damage to me. But it wasn't in the forefront of my mind. It was just something like a brief thought as I was just kind of going over the game plan in my mind. So I really should have focused on that part a lot more. So although it was a very smooth fight up until the end, I did end up taking 55% health. So that little bit of sloppiness is going to cost me some more potions, unfortunately. But the fortunate part is that it's yet another solo. So let's see if we can finish the war without a death. The final fight is going to be against Maestro, who is always a little bit dangerous, right? Even with, obviously, given the team that I brought, it's going to be no surprise that I'm going to use Kushala for this fight, especially because it's Hazard Shift, Incinerate, and Poison, and she is Incinerate immune. But I'm still a little bit nervous about this. It is a 7-star rank 2 Maestro, and I think, well, based on my duels with my 5-star rank 1 Kushala against my own 7-star rank 1 Maestro, I felt like if I don't get the fight down quickly, then his cosmic radiation mode is going to start up, even if I'm trying to be good about, pausing his, whatever they're called, the charges that he's building up. And then the fight's going to become a lot more problematic. So I'm quite a bit nervous about this. You can see I put 70% win probability, but in my own mind, I'm feeling like, it's probably like a 50-50 chance that I give up a death here. So game plan is not perfectly complicated. It's really just, whether or not the AI is going to be cooperative enough, and if I can execute well enough to finish the fight before I get into that danger zone. So I don't want to be obsessive about only attacking during Incinerate. Obviously, I want to be mindful of the cycle and mostly attack when he's in Incinerate phase. But if I need to keep tempo by hitting here and there during the poison phase, I shouldn't be afraid of that. So this is going to be another fight where I'm spamming SP2. So I still have that power boost active from the previous fight, so I can just use that. And like I said, I want to get this fight done quickly, so I want to be aggressive. All right, so last fight of the war. Let's see if I can overcome the sloppiness that I displayed in previous fights. So I guess I also had a Power Start 1 boost. So I'm able to get that SP2 off before the first Incinerate phase finishes, which is great. So that Soul Barb is doing pretty decent damage, almost 2k per tick. So he's almost a quarter of the way down. So I'm feeling pretty encouraged about that. And I bait out the L2 right at the end of the poison phase, so that timing worked out perfectly. I wouldn't say that I was managing that perfectly, it just kind of worked out that way. So I'm able to launch another L2. Should have more buffs this time to barb him with. So now it's over 3k per tick. And he's at L2 again. I can dodge this. It's early. I tried to heavy counter that, and I knew from the duels that the spacing is a little bit tricky, so I shouldn't have tried it. But so I do attack a little bit. I have a couple poisons up on me. I'm not really concerned about that because I see how quickly he's ticking down. So even though he's in cosmic radiation mode, I can sense the kill. I know that I can kill him faster than that cosmic radiation will kill me. So my last Soul Barb and 4k per tick, I can just kind of hang out and back, and he's done. So fairly quick, a minute 11. I did lose significant health, but this was the last fight of the war, and I had a game plan that accounted for it being okay to take on some damage. So I'm not upset about this at all. I couldn't have wished for a better fight. So very happy with how this war turned out, especially given the sloppiness that I displayed fairly early on. But I think I did a good job against those last two minis. Again, putting aside that last little bit against Super-Skrull. The war actually isn't over yet, or it's probably maybe finishing up just as I'm recording this video, but I didn't feel like waiting for that. So we have a pretty sizable lead. All the fights are done at this point, unless Kabam somehow screws up the math, which is a very remote possibility. This should be another win for us. So that's great. I think that makes us like 3 victories deep into tier 2 at this point. So, any season, you're going to have some losses, right? Unless you just knock it out of the park, you should expect that you're going to have at least 2, 3, 4 losses along the way. And if those losses happen to come in a consecutive streak, right? That's where it's gotten us into trouble in the past, is that we've gotten knocked down into the previous tier, into the lower tier, right, into tier 3 in this case. So being roughly 3 or 4 wins deep into tier 2 is gonna, I think, do wonders for our confidence next season, as well as our performance, because we know that, okay, 1 or 2 losses in a row isn't going to doom us to a poor overall, I guess, season-ending result. So, all right, 2 more awards for this season before we close it out. Obviously, it's been a rocky season for everybody. Somewhat a rocky season for us, but we're finding our footing, certainly. I think these last 4 or 5 wars, we're either 3-2 or 4-1. So feeling pretty good about that. A lot of momentum built up. Our alliance is doing better. So I'm excited. As always, please do like and subscribe. Any feedback from me, please do leave in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. All right, take care, everybody. See you all later.